Hey friends, today we're going to talk about Parkinson's disease. So Parkinson's disease is a progressive central nervous system disorder. That's the result of death of the dopamine producing cells that are located in the substantia nigra. We have talked in passing about the basal ganglia, and we're going to go into more depth about the basal ganglia today. This is going to take probably several videos because this is a very complex disease process. And so the death of these dopamine producing cells is what produces the signs and symptoms of Parkinson's disease. And actually our brains are so efficient that we don't even see the onset of the physical symptoms of Parkinson's disease until we've lost about 60 to 80% of those dopaminergic neurons. So there's 4 cardinal signs to Parkinson's disease, and there are other motor and non-motor signs and symptoms which we'll get into later, but these 4 are like the big ones that are like these are very definitional of someone that has Parkinson's disease. That doesn't mean that you have to have all of these, but these are the most common presentations of Parkinson's disease. So the first one is a resting tremor that diminishes with voluntary movement, and this is common in up to 70% of people with Parkinson's, and in fact up to 70% at the diagnosis of their Parkinson's disease. It initially begins on one side of the body. Medically, we call that unilateral, and it typically starts by affecting the hand or the foot, and this worsens whenever someone is stressed or excited. And so the most common one that people see is a pill rolling. So you'll sometimes see like their hand on their lap, and they're just like they're rolling a pill in their fingers. The next one is rigidity. This rigidity is a result of hypertonia, which is basically when your muscles give resistance throughout the entire range of motion of a joint, regardless of the velocity. And so in Parkinson's disease, the 2 most common presentations of this rigidity is what we call cogwheel rigidity, which is when I'm trying to straighten out and it's like just gives out in cogs. So you hit resistance, and then there's a little giving out, and then resistance, and then giving out, and then resistance and giving out. Otherwise, there's what's called lead pipe rigidity, which is like a constant resistance. You're just pulling against that resistance, but you can still straighten it. It usually starts proximal to distal, and what that means is proximal means closer to the center of your body, and distal means more on the periphery. And this can lead to decreased range of motion, slow movements, fatigue, and pain. The third cardinal sign is bradykinesia or akinesia. Bradykinesia, if you remember your Latin roots, just means slow movement. Akinesia means loss or impairment of voluntary movements. And this is it impairs your ability to initiate and execute voluntary movement. And then the last cardinal sign is postural instability, which is impairments in your reactive or anticipatory balance reactions. So typically we see this as either retropulsion or a posterior loss of balance. Happens frequently when you're trying to stand up or when you're trying to back up, or an anterior loss of balance or a loss of balance forward, which typically occurs more frequently from a forward flexed posture and festination of gait. And festination means when your upper body gets ahead of your feet and you can't take big enough steps to catch your feet up to your upper body and you lose balance forward.